At you guys with episode 7 of the Miami Dolphins rebuild franchise, simulation rebuild franchise, how to build a dynasty in Madden 19. And today I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride for our off season. Just to recap what happened last episode, we simulated up to the playoffs and we came one win away from making it into the playoffs. We were 9-7 and just missed out on a wild card spot. So next season we're looking to be in the playoff hunt, potentially a Super Bowl contender. So I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride here in the off season and just kind of see how we can build up this team. Just a couple quick notes on what we are aiming to do here in the off season. We're aiming to probably fix the running back position and the O-line. Those are our two main concerns at this point. Those are the two things that are definitely holding us back. But as far as skill positions on offense, we are good with 3 top-end wide receivers and some good backups. We have a good future, good young QB here, and then we have a good couple of tight ends. And then on defense, our defense, as you can see, is an 87 overall, is just absolutely stacked. Minkah Fitzpatrick is the core to the defense here, and then our defensive line is coming along wonderfully. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to advance here a little bit, and I'll see you guys back here when something meaningful happens. Alright guys, we're back here. I just wanted to show you guys the results of the Pro Bowl. We'll go ahead in and check real quick to see if we made any if we had any Pro Bowlers. We're going to be looking at the AFC here. So we're looking at not at quarterback. We didn't make running back, obviously. No fullback. Chris Godwin made it in at wide receiver. He's up to a 91 overall and made it into the Pro Bowl. That's beautiful. So that'll be a good XP boost for him. Nobody at tight end. I'm assuming nobody across the offensive line made it either. Yeah, nobody on the offensive line from our team made it. Nobody at defensive left end, not right end, and not D tackle. Actually, Godshow made it at D tackle, so our second D tackle made it in to the Pro Bowl. So we have 2 Pro Bowl representatives so far, which is pretty nice to see. Nobody at linebacker. Hilton, Marshall. Nobody at corner. And neither of our safeties made it. Cordarrelle Patterson did make the Pro Bowl at kick return. So we ended up with 3 Pro Bowl representatives here. Cordarrelle Patterson, Godshow, and then Chris Godwin. So I just wanted to highlight that for you guys, and that'll be a nice little XP boost for them. Hopefully they'll have a skills upgrade at that point. We'll see. It doesn't look like it, but I'll be back with you guys here in a minute. I'll give you guys results of the Super Bowl, and we'll be back basically in the re-sign period. So I'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, we are back here post-Super Bowl in off-season week 1, which is the re-sign period. As you guys can see in the top left corner, the Jacksonville Jaguars defeated the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl 27-24 here in year 2 of the franchise. So those 2 teams that have been on top for a while are still staying on top there. And we will have some stiff competition if we are looking to get into the Super Bowl. So we will have to make some major upgrades to this team to make anything work. We'll go ahead and get in here and re-sign these players. No, it doesn't look like we have anybody good necessarily to re-sign. We did say we wanted to franchise tag Laramie Tunsil. I'm okay giving him $7.28 million. Not a big deal there. And I'll just kind of work through this here real quick and see if these are guys that we want to re-sign. Mark Gilbert, 22 years old. I would like to bring him back as a corner, at least as a depth type of guy. I'll sign him to a cheap contract for like 4 or 5 years. That'll be a solid depth guy for quite a while. Deebo Samuel at wide receiver was that young guy with really nice speed. I do want to bring him back for a few years. So I'm going to go ahead and negotiate a contract with him, a nice depth wide receiver. And we won't really have to touch our wide receivers after that. Dalton Gage, another nice depth corner. We want to bring him back for a couple years. I'm willing to give him a few years on his deal, and like I said, we won't have to touch our corners unless we find somebody that's really good. Papa Sayers, a right tackle, 24 years old. He wants a 3-year deal. He's a guy that I think that actually had some pretty good ratings here. It's a decent strength, run block power, pass block. You know, not a bad player, not a bad backup to have. So I think I might give him a deal, but I might just lowball him. Like I don't want to give him $1 million if I sign him to something. Or sorry, $2 million. Yeah, we'll give him a cheap deal there. Nathan Goldsberry, another offensive lineman we signed in preseason. I'm okay giving him a couple-year deal as well. Just in the hopes that some of these down the line offensive linemen can progress. Bruce Harnish, run block, pass block. Not particularly great numbers across the board here. I think that's one that I'd be willing to let go just because he's, you know, only 81 strength. He is 24, so it's not really the right combination for us. So I will go ahead and actually withdraw my offer on him. With that being said, we will go ahead and advance, and I'll see you guys when we're back here in free agency week 1. We're back here in free agency week 1, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at and see, you know, who's available on the market to help our team out. Derrick Henry might be an early guy that we might want to bid big on. Tavon Young would be a great corner to attain. Another, you know, a couple good corners actually across the board here. Jalen Mills, Logan Ryan, a little bit older of a player. Definitely some help here at a lot of different positions, but I'm going to go through and scroll one by one. We don't need a quarterback. I'm just curious to see who's there. Phillip Rivers didn't re-sign with the Chargers and might be going to the Bills here, which is interesting. And then Nick Foles to the Patriots. That would be kind of ironic, going to the team that he beat in the Super Bowl. At halfback, I don't want any part of Giovanni Bernard. I've never been a fan of him. I don't particularly think he's good, so I would be probably looking to pass on him. If we go anywhere at halfback, it would be a big offer to Derrick Henry. He's only 26 and he is an 87, so he's on the brink of being a top-notch running back. So if we go anywhere at running back, it's going to be Derrick Henry. And if there aren't too many other players that we want to sign, that will probably be our pickup. Like I said, wide receiver, we don't need much. We have signed our wide receivers pretty much, you know, for quite some time here. At tight end, it might be interesting to bring in another impact tight end, you know, an Eric Ebron or somebody, but we're going to have to bid big if we do anything like that. Offensive line, Hal Vaitai is a viable option at offensive line. Not somebody that I'm extremely high on at 27 years old, but he's got some pretty good ratings. He might be a decent pickup, you know, as sort of a rental player. And then nobody else particularly great across left tackle. Nobody at left guard that we want. Corey Linsley, not much of an upgrade from what we already have. TJ Lang, you know, old, 32 years old, not going to be much of an upgrade. And then not much at right tackle either. So we might also be looking to draft some players at O-line. That'll probably be the majority of our draft. In terms of defensive line, I'm going to have to review our defensive line. I don't want to bring in Brockers just because he's older or Muhammad Wilkerson. And with that being said, these other guys aren't better than what we already have. At D-tackle, we don't need a D-tackle, but if there was one, say if Onyemata could play defensive end, that might help, but I'm not convinced with that. And the other defensive end, not particularly interesting. At outside linebacker, I would be interested in bringing in Mingo as a depth type of guy. I personally like Mingo, LSU fan. And then at the other linebacker positions, only one. Bud Dupree could be interesting. Bud Dupree might be a little bit of an upgrade, but we would have to bid on him. He's an 81, and he managed to have star. I think I'm gonna bookmark him real quick just by putting in whatever base offer there is here. That would be quite an interesting upgrade there. Sean Lee is one I would consider as like a short-term plug-and-play type of player, a quick upgrade early. But we'll have to go back and review that position and see if that's actually something we want to do. Now, in terms of corner, there aren't a lot of people bidding on either Tavon Young or Jalen Mills. So with that being said, I might go ahead and snag them up. I'm going to put a bookmark in on all the guys that I would potentially want here. We have quite a bit of money here this offseason because we've been smart with contracts and smart with our young players coming into this. So I'm going to be able to bookmark all these players and potentially bring in a lot of young players, a lot of impact players for us. In terms of safety, we definitely don't need a safety, that's for sure. We don't need a kicker. We brought in Elliott last year to be an impact kicker. And then halfback, we said Derrick Henry would be interesting. Definitely an upgrade with quick potential there. And then we said at left tackle, Vaitai could be a potential plug-and-play type of player. So then we'll go to, what I do from here is I'll go to my negotiations and just kind of scroll through everybody and see what kind of offer we want. So we're at a 92-point offer here, and we're third for Derrick Henry. I'm going to go ahead, honestly, I think I'm just going to lock him up. I'm going to give him, you know, a long-term deal and a ton of money because we can afford it. And I want this to be a big enough offer that there's like no chance of anybody competing with us on this guy. So we're going to keep negotiating until this is like a 110-point offer, basically. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm even okay going above this. 3.75 million might push us over the edge, kind of where I want to be. Yeah, 110-point offer. Nobody's really going to be competing with that, and if they do, good on them for that. But that'll be a nice upgrade for us. Still undecided on Vaitai. We're in the lead for that, though. So, easy kind of bid there. We want to decide what we want to do at outside linebacker. I obviously don't want to bring in both of these guys. My preference is to bring in the young guy, but that's obviously going to cost more money. In terms of our defense can only get better at this point. We want to keep Raekwon McMillan on the outside. He's got quick and he's 23. We want to keep Ragland on the inside. He's 26 and he's an 82. And then I really wanted to kind of stick with Beckwith, but the fact of the matter is he's 25, he's a 77. I'm not too sure if he's going to continue to progress or not. I would be okay with having Beckwith as kind of the rotational backup at all of the different positions. And even if we decided at one point that we wanted to switch to a 3-4, Beckwith could play inside, or Bud Dupree could. I think the best bet here, my line of thinking on this is simply that if you sign Sean Lee, all that's going to do is it's going to be a 1-year deal, or a 1 or 2 year deal, and he's going to stunt the growth of the man behind him. So he's going to prevent Beckwith from getting any better, obviously, because this guy's going to start over top of him. But then after 1 or 2 years, we're going to have to go and find a player to plug in at that position again because Beckwith won't have grown at all. So I think that that's not the way to go. So I think that the decision is, do you bring in Bud Dupree, who's a proven like 81 overall type of player with star potential, and plug him in at outside linebacker? Or do you start the young guy that we've been going with for a while? And I think the fact that he has star potential that doesn't get to free agency that often, I think we're going to go ahead and pay the man and hope that, because he's going to, at star potential at 27 years old, he has a little bit of a window to still be able to get better. And if we fed him XP, he would definitely get better. So I think that what we're going to go ahead and do is pay the man. I think that the potential is there for him to be a lot better than Beckwith can be. So I'm going to do the same that I did with Derrick Henry, and I'm going to make the offer so far above what anybody else can offer that I don't want competition on these offers. I just straight up want my offer to be the winner. So we'll take this down to 2.75, well, 2.5, and see where that gets us. 108. Nobody should really be competing with that. I like the 110 number, so I'm going to go ahead and increase it a little bit more, see if we can hit 110. Yeah, 110 is where I like to be. So that's going to be the decision at outside linebacker. Bud Dupree, that's like the last hole that we have on defense, is that outside linebacker spot. In terms of defensive end, we did have one end that wasn't too great. And then I think we do want to go to Vaitai and that just the fact that we have so much money. It's interesting. He's only an 80. He's really not that great in terms of an upgrade. So I want to go see. So my negotiations, we do still have to potentially look at the corners. We did say we wanted to upgrade the O-line, and that was our biggest priority. I believe he could play center. That would be a good upgrade at center, I believe, and then we would still be able to start the young guys at guards. Yeah, I think that's the play. I think that we bring him in and potentially maybe even play him at tackle because he's a better pass blocker. And then start Tunsil maybe at center or something like that. So let the young guys develop at guards, play Vaitai in the middle or right tackle, and Tunsil in the middle or right tackle. And that becomes basically an immediate upgrade over these guys at center. So I definitely think that we want to bring him in. We'll go ahead and sign him real quick. I'm looking at probably a 3 or 4 year deal for him, just because I think he was 27. It's 27, and where are we at? We're at 92 points. We're pretty much, where we're going to be in terms of getting him an offer. I'm okay going up a little bit, making it an even number. I want to see if it goes 3 years, where does that put us? That puts us at a 91 point offer. Somebody might come in and counter, but I'm okay with that. 3 year deal signs him to the age of 30, then we can decide what we want to do at that point. And now we just got to go and negotiate with these corners. I want to go look at my team real quick and see, in terms of corner, what the plan would be going forward if we brought in any of these guys. So at corner, we have Witherspoon, who keeps getting better. Tankersley is kind of what he is at this point. He's a 78, he's 26 years old. He didn't progress quite as well as we wanted him to. We did get these couple young guys as depth guys, but they're never really going to progress to the point that I think that they're going to be amazing, and we might end up having to cut some people because of this. And then Anthony Averett still has some potential, with being that he is quick. He could maybe be like a third man, or Tankersley could be a third man, but I do think that bringing in 1 or 2 impact corners would be really good for us. And I think putting in an offer on all 3 of them, seeing what happens from there, can't hurt. We have the money to be able to do it, and we can always trade people away. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go to corner, and I'm going to put in an offer that I like on all 3 of these guys. Vernon Hargreaves might be questionable. I'm going to actually not go in on Hargreaves. I thought that he had quick potential. He does not. He's just kind of right where like Tankersley is, at an 80, 25 years old. So I'm going to bail out on that one. Jalen Mills is 26 with normal. And Tavon Young is also 26 with normal. The other things that I would look at on these players would be height. So 5'9" versus 6 foot. Jalen Mills definitely has the potential to be a little bit better. And Jalen Mills is from LSU. 92 speed. I would give you a 4 year deal for sure. I'll give you 4.5 and we'll go with 3 and just kind of see where that takes us. If that puts us ahead, that would be beautiful. Yeah, 100 point offer. And I'm going to do the same exact thing over here. 4 year deal, 4.5. Just try and put us ahead. I think that this was 3, which is what put us over to the 100 mark. Yeah, okay, so we'll bid on those 2, and I'll give you guys a little recap here of what all we're bidding on. We're bidding on Derrick Henry, trying to bring him in to immediately upgrade the running back spot. We're bidding on these 2 corners in order to try and bring in like 1 more impact player, 1 more playmaker on the defensive side of the ball, and Bud Dupree to try and fill that 1 linebacker spot that's been missing for a while. And then we're bringing in Vaitai to try and play center for us, just as kind of an immediate impact over those guys that haven't progressed in the center. And I'm good to go. We'll go ahead and advance. I'll be back with you guys in free agency week 2. Alright, good news, guys. We got Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree decided to accept our offer, so we got that immediate impact at linebacker. Hal Vaitai decided to accept our offer as well, so we got the center that we wanted. Derrick Henry accepted our offer on top of it all, and we're going to have that upgrade at running back, quick and easy. And then both corners decided to accept our offer. So our team is looking phenomenal at this point. Our defense is almost a 90 overall with the addition of those two corners. So as you can see here, 89 defense, 85 offense with the addition of those couple players. So what we might be looking to do now, since we have all of these players, we might be looking to trade away some of the people that were already on our team, you know, Kenyon Drake or, you know, players like that, and see if we can potentially move up and get a better player in the draft. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead, I'll take care of the scouting, and if I decide there are any other free agents I want, I'll let you guys know. I'll be back with you guys here in a little while, probably in free agency. Alright guys, we're back real quick. We decided before we were going to advance that we were going to look for a trade for a couple of excess pieces that we had now based on all of our signings and everything. Based on how Vaitai coming in to play center, Siragusa was expendable. We decided to find a team that wanted him. Freddie Stevenson was the second fullback that we wanted to get rid of for a while now, because we ended up drafting that fullback that had star potential. And then Kenyon Drake we decided to bail on because Kenyon Drake hasn't done anything for us. So we decided to get Forrest Lamp at right guard. He's 26 years old with quick potential and 81 overall. So a favorable trade for the Chargers for sure. They get a couple of guys that they can plug in at least as backups into their lineup, and they only had to give up one player to go ahead and get all of these guys. So we're going to get Forrest Lamp in return, and he will be a guy that we can plug into our lineup, which will immediately upgrade the offensive line. And that's about all I wanted to show you guys real quick, and we're going to go ahead and advance again, and I'll let you guys know if anything important happens. We're back here now at the NFL draft. Nothing really happened in between that trade and the draft, so we just went ahead and did some more scouting, and that was about it, just scouting. And so now we're up to the draft, and we're going to see what we can do in terms of improving probably the offensive line. We did identify on the draft board here, there was a tight end that stuck out to me. He's a second rounder projected second rounder that could be a first rounder. So he should potentially be on the board for us towards the end of the first round. That might be a player for us to target. I'll go ahead and skip ahead to our pick just to kind of speed it along here. Oh, and we ended up with the 19th pick. What am I thinking? I thought we were a little bit further along because I thought we made the playoffs. However, we did not. So we do actually have a decent pick here with potential to draft somebody actually really good. Now, in terms of halfbacks, there was Taz Worlds, who is a player that I would be willing to wait until the second round to try and target. The top halfbacks that were good are off the board now at this point. In terms of tight end, there is still this guy that I'd be willing to take a chance on. In terms of offensive line, this guy for sure is going to be DeAndre Darius. Are there any other first rounders left? There aren't at the O-line position, nobody at the defensive end position, which is where we were potentially looking to upgrade. There is a linebacker here, but we have our linebacking squad now at this point, so I think we'll pass on that. We have our corners, so I think the pick is definitely going to be this left tackle, which will be somebody that should be good enough to plug into our lineup. Yes, that is phenomenal. We got an 81 overall left tackle here early in the draft with quick potential, only 22 years old. That will be a guy that will slot into the lineup immediately. That is a huge pickup for us, and this offensive line issue is basically already addressed at this point, which is phenomenal for us. We did trade away our second round pick at some point, I'm assuming. I'm guessing that's why we don't have a pick. I didn't realize that, but we'll go ahead and see if there's anybody left for us to make a selection. This halfback is still here that is potentially good. Projected as a second rounder, definitely has potential to be good. The tight end is gone off the board. In terms of offensive line, I'm not sure that it's necessary for us to draft anybody at this point. We could probably pick up a guy later in the rounds that has potential to be good. So I think that halfback looks like a good option. He has first round potential, basically. Not a good 40 time, but he is a 77 overall, 22 years old receiving back. 84 speed. Not actually particularly the best player, but it was worth a shot, seeing as it said that he could potentially be a first-round player. Now might be another time that we want to take a look at offensive line or potentially halfback again. I know we've already addressed halfback, so I want to look through here and see if there's anybody worthwhile. 4.49 40 is not terrible. 4.57. This guy I thought would be interesting based on his carrying rating of an A. Anybody with an A usually turns out to be pretty decent. 4.54. You know, some of these it might be worth taking a shot on some of these running backs here later on. I'm not sure I want to do that right now. I think I want to go O-line at least one more time here before we're over. Tight end could be interesting. Lucas Mattinson. Decent catching, but not the other grades. We're going to look at some of the guys that we do have scouted. Not good on the bench press. You know what, that guy actually was good on the bench press, because these guys that are ranking higher than him, like this guy, and I have to pause the draft real quick in order to do my analysis. Some of these guys that are ranked higher than him have less reps, so like this left tackle has 31 reps but is placed 18th, whereas this guy, who has 28 reps, placed 10th as a left guard. So Sanchez, that's a strong player. That's a guy that we want to look at later on. That's not necessarily somebody we want to look at. Well, I like the idea of going with this left tackle, Ross Lumen, just based on his 31 reps on the combine is pretty strong, and then B minus, potentially a good player there. A 75 overall 22-year-old. Let's see what his ratings are. 85 strength, and not bad ratings overall. So I'll take that as a backup lineman in the 4th round. Not too bad, actually. I think with this pick, I'm going to be looking for potentially a halfback again, and some of these halfbacks are still here. So honestly, we might just draft a whole bunch of halfbacks and just see who turns out to be good. There's that guy here that we still wanted to take a look at. The center is still here. A very strong guy. Not necessarily sure I'm sold on him. We've already addressed the offensive line position. Steve. Carrying elusiveness and ball carrier vision. Carrying ball carrier vision and juke move. Why did we say we wanted him? Because he had a good 40 time. And then we also said that this guy might not be bad. Ralston Olsen. There are a lot of halfbacks left here. I like the idea of taking an elusive back. We're going to go ahead and draft this guy. We're just going to take shots on halfbacks at this point because we don't have a whole lot more left to upgrade. I think we're going to go back to halfback. Receiving back. Lee Sanchez. Nope. Wait, we want to go to halfback here. Where is the guy with A- left? He's not, so he must have been pretty good. He got taken. We're not worried about fullback. The center that we thought might be good is still there, so I'm going to go ahead and take him. 23, 85 strength, not bad blocking grade. So we will have some decisions to make across the offensive line here. I'm not sure that there's particularly anybody that we need at this point in the draft. I don't know that we have a whole lot scouted in terms of like the 7th round either. Just a couple linebackers. If there's nobody here really scouted that we think would be interesting, we might just trade this pick away. Yeah, nobody really on the offensive line that interests me. Most of these guys have been taken. At fullback, obviously the fullbacks are going to still be there. I'm not really worried about that position though. And then, you know, we'll go see what the trades are worth here. If not, we might just be taking an extra fullback. So they will give us, someone's going to give us a 5th round next year. With a 5th round for a 7th round pick is phenomenal, and I'll take the Titans offer on that one. I don't want to trade to the Patriots. I don't want them to benefit in any way because they're in our division. We'll go ahead and advance to the end of the draft. We won't do, I'm not going to edit the roster on this screen. I'll edit it on the next screen because I want to check for free agents before I advance, because I want to look at those fullbacks and see if they're there. If those fullbacks are there, one of them has to have a decent development trait. So that's what I'm looking for. Quick development, normal. Yeah, they must have, the good ones must have gotten taken. The one just has quick development, so we won't be concerned with that. But I wanted to check and see what our roster size is. Sorry, I wasn't seeing it right away. So it's 60 of 75 players. We will end up having to cut 7 more people. We'll make those decisions later on. We'll probably go ahead and try and trade away. We have way too many halfbacks on the roster, I know that much, and we'll probably try and trade away a couple other players to teams that could use them. But that's where we stand after off-season year 2. Our team is up to an 87 overall. As you can see, offense is an 87 and defense is a 93. If you guys follow my tips, follow my suggestions, and follow my strategies, you can take a 73 overall team is what we started at and boost them up to an 87 just after 2 seasons. So like I said, this is the best way to build a dynasty, the best way to build a franchise in Madden 19. If you're not doing these types of things, you're not going to be as competitive as the people you're playing against, because these are the easiest ways and the most sure ways to build a team into a franchise in such a little time. You know, 2 seasons we went from a 73 to an 87, and I guarantee you this team will be competing for a Super Bowl this year. So with that all being said, if you guys like the video, leave a like. Don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe to the channel for more content, and go check out my previous videos, my other video series on the channel. With all that being said as well, I will leave this video off for today. Have a good day, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.